Good afternoon. My name is Alexandria McCormick, and tonight on the NBC, we will be talking about one of the most iconic presidential figures in the history of America, President Lyndon B. Johnson. As such, by taking an iconic oath, President Johnson had to continue to do the work needed of the cultural environment of that time. During the era of his presidency, the 60s brought along major things that changed American society for better or worse. Culturally, we had things such as the war in Vietnam, civil rights movements, Great Society programs, and discussing the right to vote for those of a different race, all of which occurred within Lyndon Johnson's presidency, and leaving the American people asking the big question: how does he plan on caring for all of our problems that face our society all at once? We will be talking about his social and economical standpoints in a few minutes. Thank you for tuning in for this NBC presidential overview. Welcome back. As promised prior, we will be talking about the social and economical things that President Johnson went through during his presidency. Many of these socially and economically things were mixed and needed to be addressed. The social reign of his presidency brought along things such as the Johnson Great Society program, which prompted the elimination of poverty and racial injustice in America. It also provided spending programs that addressed issues such as education, medical care, and urban problems in society. The clip I'm about to show you is Lyndon B. Johnson's State of Union War on Poverty. Roll the clip.
All Americans must have the privileges of citizenship, regardless of race. And they are going to have those privileges of citizenship, regardless of race. But I would like to caution you and remind you that to exercise these privileges takes much more than just legal right. It requires a trained mind and a healthy body. It requires a decent home and the chance to find a job and the opportunity to escape from the clutches of poverty. Of course, people cannot contribute to the nation if they are never taught to read or write. If their bodies are stunted from hunger, if their sickness goes untended, if their life is spent in hopeless poverty, just drawing a welfare check. So we want to open the gates to opportunity. But we're also going to give all our people, black and white, the help that they need to walk through those gates.
Thank you, Tia. Another big social cause for Americans during the 1960s were things that dealt with the civil rights movements, in which President Johnson took to rallying the nation to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964, signed by Johnson, which was shortly followed up by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, that also signed into law by Johnson, which addressed that you should not deny American citizens of their rights to vote based on the account of their race or color. Economically, the president offered the American people things such as Medicare, in which stated that if a person was poor, they should not be denied medical attention. This was to avoid any family financial downfalls, which could also be seen as being tied into the effects of the Great Society program. By the time Lyndon Johnson was issued as president, 35 million Americans were living below the poverty line, in the most richest country or nation in the world. In 1964, Johnson signed the Food Stamp Act, which was a part of his Great Society program. The Food Stamp Act was designed to safeguard the health and well-being of the nation's population and raise the levels of nutrition among the low-income households. Now, later on, we'll be talking about Lyndon B. Johnson's political views. And we'll be right back after this very short break. Welcome back to the NBC's overview of the presidency of Lyndon B. Johnson. As promised previously, we will now be talking about the political decisions that Lyndon B. Johnson made during the 1960s. As a result of the decisions and laws that were passed to address the social and economical climates, the political environment was afflicted with anxiety, fear, unrest, and hesitation in the future of America by things such as the war going over in Vietnam, which was a fight on communism, in which American people were viewing the horrific reality in which their loved ones were involved in. Johnson confronted such issues as the American military effort over in Vietnam, where he strongly believed in things such as the domino effect and the policy of containment, which was required for America to make an effort to stop the spread of communism. This leading to issues such as the Gulf of Tonkin incident, where we intended on collecting intelligence in radar and coastal defenses of North Vietnam, and resulted in the Vietnamese torpedo patrol boats attacking the USS Maddox. Lyndon B. Johnson made a report on the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which helped lead to a greater American involvement in war. And I will now roll the clip of Lyndon B. Johnson's announcement.
My fellow Americans, as President and Commander-in-Chief, it is my duty to the American people to report that renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply. The initial attack on the destroyer Maddox on August 2nd was repeated today by a number of hostile vessels attacking two U.S. destroyers with torpedoes. The destroyers and supporting aircraft acted at once on the orders I gave after the initial act of aggression.
Thank you for rolling the clip. We'll now be talking about the technological things that Lyndon B. Johnson had to go through during his presidency. Subsequently from that, technology emerged to ensure society, political accuracy, and everyone's constitutional rights, which inquired things such as creating a national public broadcasting system on March 6, 1968, in which the Senate Commerce Committee met to hold hearings on newly appointed members of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, created by President Johnson, to fund a national public broadcasting system. Also during the period of his presidency, Lyndon B. Johnson was involved in a controversy revolving around the wiretapping scandals of Martin Luther King Jr. Although there was never any proof of this substance, that he was directly involved or authorized in any wiretapping of Martin Luther King Jr. When we come back from the short commercial break, we'll be talking about the ending sentence and the resigning presidency made by Lyndon B. Johnson. We'll be right back.
Oh, bye-bye. May I have a cookie? Nice, Mommy. Talk and talk and talk.
This is Mattel's family of Chatty dolls. Chatty Cathy, Chatty Baby, Tiny Chatty Baby and Tiny Chatty Brother. And this is Mattel's Charmin' Chatty. She's different because she has a different personality for each of the 5 records you can change. So she can say over 100 things.
The animal means I love you.
Mattel's wonderful Chatty dolls. Which one do you want? You can tell they're Mattel. They're swell.
Welcome back. At the end of his presidency, Lyndon B. Johnson publicly announced on a television broadcast that he would not be continuing for a second term as President of the United States of America. I will shortly be showing you the clip of his declarance of not continuing to be president. But I would like to inform you all that this is officially the end of NBC's overview on the presidency of Lyndon B. Johnson. And I would like to wish all of you a great rest of your day. Goodbye. And thank you for tuning in.
In the balance every day, I do not believe that I should devote an hour or a day of my time to any personal partisan causes or to any duties other than the awesome duties of this office, the presidency of your country. Accordingly, I shall not seek and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president. But let men everywhere know, however, that a strong and a confident and a vigilant America stands ready tonight to seek an honorable peace and stands ready tonight to defend an honored cause, whatever the price, whatever the burden, whatever the sacrifice that duty may require. Thank you for listening. Good night, and God bless all of you.